Hey everyone, Michelle and Gabby here. We wanted to take a moment before this episode to say something about the recent events in Minneapolis.
So we recorded this week's following episode about good news we may be missing before the most recent horrific murder of Alex Pretty in Minneapolis. Like most of you, we have seen the videos coming out of the ICE protests in cities across the country, cities like Minneapolis.
Our hearts, prayers, and minds go with all those protesting, grieving, facing the loss of family, friends, and community members, and with all those whose lives are being adversely affected. This week's charity shout out is MIRAC, the Minnesota Immigrant Rights Action Committee. MIRAC is an all-volunteer, grassroots, multiracial, and multinational immigrant rights organization working hard to protect the rights of immigrants in their community. You can learn more about the work that they do on their website at miracmn.com. That is miracmn.com. And don't forget, the grassroots immigrant rights organizations local to your community likely need your support too.
Thank you so much, and here's this week's show. Hi, everybody. It's Michelle here. Gabby and I have a little bit of a different show for you this week. We have no guests planned, and we are just going to talk off the cuff and see what comes up. You enjoy? We'll see you on the other side. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Eternal Void, but with Jazz Podcast. We appreciate y'all so much. Thanks to everybody who has liked, shared, and subscribed. If you're feeling froggy and would like to help us get out in front of more people, leave a review on your favorite podcast provider. If there's a review option, we would appreciate that a lot. And yeah, that's kind of the notes for that out of the way. We're trying something a little bit different this episode. We don't have a guest booked, and we are going without much of an outline, and we're just going to see what comes up. We've got some loose ideas, and it's been a day. I think Gabby would agree. And yeah, Gabby, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm actually really excited to have kind of more of an open-ended episode. I think it'll be really fun to kind of get into things that maybe we wouldn't normally talk about during an episode with, a regular scheduled guest. So I think it'll be fun to kind of have more of a casual conversation. I like listening to these kinds of podcasts whenever I'm doing chores or things around the house, because then you can kind of listen in and, kind of do two things at once.
Yes. Yeah, true that. And I'm totally right there with you. I don't even know. Today's been wild. I feel like I've done nothing and a million things all at once today. It's brutally cold outside, and my dog is next to me chewing on a rawhide bone that I got him. So you may hear a little bit of that background noise. And you know what? In fact, that reminds me, I can probably turn on the background noise removal.
Very high tech.
I know, right? I am having a day right now. Not to be TMI, but we'll see what happens.
That's what editing's for. We can always trim what we want to.
Mm-hmm. So, let's see. One of the ideas we had for this was the news, right? I think a good portion of us all are probably really burnt out on the news with a big underline on that. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my video off. And I think everybody's kind of pretty stressed out about the news, if I can speak for most people, right? There's some crazy shit happening right now. And there's a million places where we can hear about that. And I've been trying to like, this is something I've been struggling with. And I think we've talked about this off air is like online exposure, right? And like trying to like rest and regain strength and not get sucked in to, um, yeah, for lack of a better term, like the storm that is this news cycle that we're in right now with everything that's going on.
Yeah, yeah, and like it's
Yeah.
definitely. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 no. Go ahead. I was gonna, yeah, go right ahead.
No, I was just gonna say just to kind of affirm what you're saying. Like, yeah, it's absolutely tricky to navigate the news right now, and it's kind of designed to be that way. Like the media is designed to capture your attention and keep you checking and checking and checking. But when the news is not when the news is not necessarily positive, constantly checking in on it can sometimes do more harm than good, especially when the updates aren't really productive or not really informing you. They're just more repeating what you already know. So yeah, we were kind of talking about potentially talking about the good news that's going on in the world, the stuff that maybe isn't as clickbait worthy, but is still news and maybe will show you that it's not all terrible out there.
Yeah, right, exactly. And another thing, maybe before we get into the uplifting news, is something I've been struggling with when we first talked about this is like the whole idea of like spiritual bypassing, right? Like, I don't want to put out the idea that like you don't need to be informed about what's going on because this is absolutely like the time in history to be informed, but also take care of yourself, right? Like, make sure that you're like, Maslow's like hierarchy of needs. If you can, make sure you're getting enough sleep, make sure you're getting enough to eat, like help yourself before trying to help others. That kind of thing is where I think I want to land with like how to balance the news cycle right now, right?
Exactly, because yeah, that's really the key thing. It's all about finding that balance. Like, yes, be informed, yes, stay involved, but if your engagement with the news is getting you to the point where you can't go about your daily business, like you can't connect with people, you can't go to work, you can't go to school, you're just kind of sitting at home depressed and anxious. At that point you have to kind of ask yourself, like, okay, how can I change my relationship to the news so I can still live my life and still engage with people, but at the same time I'm still taking care of myself? Because if you want to make a difference, like if you want to go out and do good things, you have to have like that energy, you have to have that drive, and you have to be able to fill up your own cup first. So
Yes.
like, yes, stay informed, but again, if you're just doom scrolling, like if you're at that point where you've updated yourself on all the news, you've been scrolling all day, there's nothing new, it's just, different people repeating the same thing, that's a time to say, maybe I should go out and do something for my community. Like maybe go check on that neighbor who has a hard time, getting around. Go to contact a friend who has been directly impacted by some of what the administration is doing. Take that kind of energy and put it to work, instead of just sort of like passively consuming, the news and kind of what's going on. Because then you can kind of turn that negative into a positive without doing the whole spiritual bypassing, I'm an ostrich, I'm going to just put my head in the ground type of thing.
Right. Yes, exactly. And yeah, and that can take so many forms of ways to like spin that into like a slight positive. And, even if you're not feeling social or just like, don't want to put like, you know, real pants on, you can still like do something for yourself, right? You can teach yourself to like cook something new or like, I don't know. Yeah, just there's there's a million healthier things to do than doom scroll. But one thought we wanted to try for this episode was like whatever the opposite of doom scrolling is. So we were like thinking about maybe checking out the uplifting news message board. was one thought we had. What do you think, Gabby?
Yeah, I love that idea. Yeah, kind of talking a little bit about what's going on in the world, beyond, kind of the frontline news.
Damn right. I'm looking at my screen right now, and one headline I see, Korea, laughing at something unrelated. Korean researchers develop water treatment method that removes 95% of microplastic pollution in minutes with reusable plate-shaped nanoparticles. This is amazing. I don't know about you, but I fucking hate the idea of microplastics, and I'm low key kind of paranoid about them.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. And I think it's awesome that they're finding ways to really filter it out because I think that's something that, as plastic kind of breaks down, it gets smaller and smaller to find like that way to get like the teeniest, tiniest bits. Like I think that's an awesome thing. Um, wow,
Yeah,
yeah, it's super cool. Sorry, I'm just reading the article.
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, read
Yeah.
away. It's like one of those things that like builds up in the food chain, builds up like in our bodies. It can like, I think I've read some studies like tacit, like, it's like it's a circulatory system, little bugbear, it's not good for you. And it's not good for the environment. It's not good for any other animal that exists in this world. So yeah, like microplastics are the new like lead and mercury, right? Let's get those fuckers out of the water. Pardon my language. I really want to try and keep this a clean podcast, but yeah, microplastics just get me so burnt up. Um, I will. Ooh, maybe what I'll do is put in some bleeps and make it kind of funny. I'll bleep out words that aren't actually cuss words and leave people. Okay. There is now a Dolly Parton Day in Tennessee. That's pretty awesome. We're always a fan of Dolly Parton in this podcast. Yeah, okay. So the day after we're recording this, it's Dolly Parton's birthday. So January 19th. How cool.
Oh, sweet. Oh, I love that. And I love it's like for everybody listening, if you're not familiar with this program already, I believe Dolly Parton still does it, but if you reach out to her, she has an organization that connects kids with books.
Yes.
So like she's like really big on childhood literacy and getting kids to read. So like if you have any little ones at home, definitely look into that program because I think she like supplies books up from like, young readers up to like middle school or so. So like it's a pretty fascinating program.
Yeah, she really seems like a modern day saint. That's really awesome. But yeah, she's done so much for just her local area and literacy. Cool. Um, oh, Gabby, off topic on weird news, but something that I thought of today. Um, if you're listening to this, our last episode was just on Twin Peaks, and this is Twin Peaks related.
Ooh.
Um, do you remember on the final episode of Twin Peaks: The Return, those house numbers where Carrie Page was? We talked about it when we watched it.
Ooh, yes, yes.
Yeah, I think it was like 115 and 116, right?
I think so. I'll have to go double check, but I think so.
I'm gonna see if I can find it right now. Uh,
Yeah, because the numerology and like numbers just in general are huge in Twin Peaks. Like six is a big number. Seven shows up a lot. Kind of like the inversion of numbers is pretty big. So like instead of 911, 119.
yes, I'm just going back through some of our messages. Was it just 115? Thought there was a 116 too. Anyway, yeah, no, I realized, and this was unplanned, but we actually released that episode the day after the anniversary of David Lynch's passing, which was 116, which I thought was kind of odd.
Oh
Because
yeah, that's right. That did just happen.
happened. I think he died 2 years ago. Was it just last year? Um, no, 2025. So he died just a year ago. So
Wow.
sad. Okay. Okay. So anyway, yeah, numerology. What's your take on the inversions? Like, we'll jump over that direction real quick. Like, whenever you see like a number you're expecting backwards, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel like so I feel like there's a sort of like two minds to it, right? Like I feel like either you can kind of see it as kind of like almost like a tarot reversal, like how like say the magician upright is a certain way, but like the magician reversed is like a slightly different meaning.
Yeah.
Um I could see it that way. So sort of like say for example, the number 7, right? Like that's like a usually seen as a very auspicious number. And if you made that 7 with like 61 versus 16, both of those numbers are sevens. But you could argue that they have a slightly different connotation because the 1 leads or the 6 leads. um but again, like that's something where I'd probably need to take some more data points to really come to like a conclusive theory. In the context of the show, I think it probably has more to do with like the Black Lodge influence and kind of how things run backwards whenever there's like some lodge influence going on, like with the way they speak. Like we hear it, it sounds sort of like odd, but how they recorded it was they literally spoke backwards, and recorded the backwards speech and then played the recording backwards.
Really?
Um,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. So like everything they said was essentially gibberish, but they whenever you reverse it, it sounds like regular English.
That's wild. I had no idea how they got that particular sound. I thought it was just like creative use of like a reverb and gate and filter.
Right? Like it's so cool and super creative. And I guess like the actor who played the arm in the original series, like he was just like naturally very talented at speaking backwards. So like he was the one who kind of like coached everybody on how to do it.
Oh,
Because
how
like it's
fun.
one of yeah, it's like one of those things where like once you learn how to do it, you can kind of like look at any word and kind of like do it backwards.
Okay. All right. I may have something I'm going to try and get really good at. Fun. Okay. Cool. Well, and the arm was the little person, right?
Yes.
Okay. But the arm was also the tree.
Yes.
Okay. I still don't know what's going on with the arm. I We could probably talk about that some more at some point. But let's get back to the good news. There was some cool stuff here that I thought would be worth mentioning to anybody whose brains are similarly fried as mine. Apparently, the NASA is not getting its budget cut, so that's freaking awesome. Like, not to get too personal, but not a fan of SpaceX. And headline right under that makes me feel kind of warm and fuzzy is apparently San Francisco has made childcare free for families earning up to $230,000 a year. That's not nothing.
Wow, yeah, childcare is so expensive. Like, I don't have any kids myself, but just knowing people who do, it's it's really like out there. Like it's almost like college tuition level expenses, but for preschool or and like on one hand, like it's great that the people who are working these places are being paid, but if you're on a limited income, you need a little bit of extra support to be able to afford those fees. So it's sort of like a double-edged sword or, kind of bittersweet.
Yes, like I can't even imagine. Um, let's just look up average cost of childcare. Like, or I don't say 3-year-old. I take I've got a dog, right? And we've got daycares around here. And every now and then I'll take my dog and drop him off at the doggy daycare. And it's like, I can do that like maybe once or twice a month. And even that's expensive. And I'm assuming that, human daycare is much more expensive because they're doing a lot more for the kids. Um, okay. So median childcare price range for a full day is anywhere between like say 7,000 and 16,000 a year, and that was in 2022. That's
Wow,
wild.
yeah. That's like almost the cost of like it's a little bit less than a semester at a state university in Massachusetts. Because I
Right.
think it's like 25 grand to go to a state university around there without like scholarships or anything like that. But
Okay. Yeah,
that,
oh, go ahead.
oh no, you're good.
Yeah, I was just thinking like minimum wage hasn't gone up in forever, and I think that still comes out to like around 18,000 a year. So that's just insane. Everything is so off balance right now. And
It does seem like because I think New York City recently either proposed or passed a law that's sort of similar where they're going to help with childcare. Yeah, it's either something with childcare or um, education for kids to make it more affordable for people. So I think it's at least setting like a really good precedent for other states to kind of catch up. Um, because yeah, like the children are our future, right? And it's so important to really get them while they're young, educate them, help them learn, help them be curious, help them be good critical thinkers. So when they're older, they'll be able to navigate the world so much better and they won't be, so reliant upon people to just sort of tell them what to do when they're adults.
yes, no, absolutely. Education is primo and primary. And it is 100% with you on that. Oh, hey, another headline. 5-year cancer survival rate in the US has reached 70% for the first time ever. I think that's important to call out because I think we've all probably know somebody who has been affected by cancer, and those who are fighting it or have fought it, or all of that.
Yeah, there really have been a lot of amazing medical strides in the last few years, with all the cancer research, with like HIV and AIDS research,
Yes.
with all of the new medications. Um, yeah, it's phenomenal. We really are seeing like these huge strides in better treatments, more effective treatments, more kind of comprehensive treatments where it's not just treating the symptom, it's actually getting to the root of the problem. Yeah, it really is amazing. Like, for example, not to get too personal, like my grandmother, she passed away from breast cancer when I was very young. And it's one of those types of cancer where it's like a genetic thing, like there's a genetic component to it. And
Okay.
now with genetic testing, if you do have like this gene, you can go and you can get treatment way before the cancer even affects you.
Yes.
So like it hugely increases, your survival chances and could even prevent in some cases actually getting cancer if you decide to take some of the preventative measures that they have now. So like and like that's only just been what like 20 something years.
Yeah.
So like imagine where we'll be 20 years from now.
Right. No, there's so much cool stuff going on there, and that's absolutely right. And I'm sorry to hear about your grandmother. I
Thank
definitely
you. I
feel where you're
appreciate
coming from
that.
on that. I That was one of the things I went through in the last year was that whole genetic testing for the cancer screening or cancer marker genomes and all that. So it's important to get done. Knowledge is power, as they say. Um,
Yes, for sure, 100%. And the earlier you find out, the better your chances are.
mhm, absolutely. Um, I'm feeling a little self-conscious reading off these headlines. I feel kind of, yeah, just a little self-conscious, but also there's some really good news I'm seeing. Like um giant panda has officially come off the endangered list. Like what? That's something like that's
Yay.
something that we've been wanting to happen since I was like in diapers, right?
Right?
Yeah. Like this first comment on this is like, wow, I grew up in the 90s and pandas have always been on the endangered list since I can remember. This is so cool. It's like my 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 thoughts exactly. My thoughts exactly.
Yay. And let me know if you want me to read some. I just don't want to like step on your toes or anything.
Oh no, my toes are completely numb right now. Feel free to jump in wherever you want. Um, oh, did you see this one? I can make it
Ooh,
bigger if you're
yay.
ready.
Mattel adds an autistic Barbie to doll line devoted to diversity and inclusion. I've actually seen this doll and she's super cute. For those of you listening, I definitely recommend looking her up. She wears like this really cute, like purple and white striped dress. She has like the little headphones on, which I guess are probably like noise canceling headphones. I think she has even one of those text to speech devices. So, like for nonverbal autistic people, so they can kind of communicate that way. And I think she's holding like a fidget toy in her other hand as well.
That's what it looks
So, like,
like.
yeah,
Oh,
super cute.
how cool. Let's see if we can get any more pictures. Nope. Okay. Nope. By website with pop-up ads that play audio.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, they're the worst.
yeah. Um, that is so cool. Super sweet. Um, oh, I don't know what's going on here, but this sounds pretty nice.
Oh,
Former inmate buys North Carolina prison to help others who serve time. We're all about carceral reform here. That is one way to do it.
wow. Yeah, that is really fascinating. So, like, did they essentially like turn it into, let's see.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, so it's like not gonna be. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is it essentially being like transformed into housing?
I don't know. Let's read this over real quick.
Yeah. Yep. Reentry housing and a workforce campus where formerly incarcerated people can attain job skills or industry certifications. That's awesome.
That is amazing. As someone who grew up in the Carolinas, more stuff like that is definitely needed. There's there's not much there for people who don't have a support system, and so many people down there don't have support systems.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there really needs to be more kind of like entry level support for people because yeah, like you said, if you don't have that support system already in place, it can be very difficult to build it over time, especially if you do have a record. You know, even if you were younger when it happened, it can be really hard to like shake that stigma and to really get that fresh start. So, like the fact that there's like a program where you can learn skills that maybe otherwise you would be prevented from learning. Yeah, that really is phenomenal. Um, and yeah,
Yeah,
and like even if you're listening to this now, I'm like, oh, prison reform, it doesn't really impact me. Oh, yes, it does, because it's really, really expensive to keep people incarcerated.
yes,
Um, like in Massachusetts, they spend something like it's over $100,000 a year per person who's incarcerated. So like the more people, and of course, all the money that you spend goes directly to the people who own the prisons if it's a for-profit one. So like it's not like that money is actually going to taking care of the people who are in prison. It's more just lining their pockets. Um, so like yeah, absolutely. If you're not familiar with this topic, I highly recommend looking into it because usually the alternatives are, better for your community, better for the people who are, formerly incarcerated. And, it actually can prevent crime in some cases. If you
Yes.
have like that support system, you don't need to go out and, like if you can't get a job, it's more likely you're going to fall into committing crime. Whereas if you have those skills, you have that support, it's a lot less likely you're going to fall into that pattern.
Yes. No, absolutely. And the carceral system in the US is so set up to, or is such, sets everybody up for failure. Like they almost seem like they want it to be a revolving door. And there's got to be some changes made there. And this seems like some good news in that direction.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Hmm. What else do we have?
Ooh, let's see. Oh,
Oh,
wow. New Jersey's medical debt relief initiative nears, oh gosh, that is a big number,
I think it's
100,000. Wow. Okay, $1,400,000,000 forgiven for over 828,000 New Jerseyans.
that.
Wow.
That's amazing. All right, so New Jersey is back on the do travel list. I'm just kidding. It's always been on the do travel list. No, but that's amazing. Oh wow. Yeah, medical debt is another thing that I think we can all agree needs to go like bleep and bleep itself, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And that's actually something if you're, another listener and you're like, oh, I'd really love to like give back to my community, but I really don't know how. Look into buying medical debt because you can essentially pay for somebody's debt and pay significantly less than the debt is like actually worth. And then you're basically like wiping out a person's debt. So like you're taking a whole burden off of their shoulders for far less than they would actually pay. So like that's a nice mutual aid cause to look into because
Yes.
we all need medical help every once in a while. So it's a nice way to give back.
Yes. And, if you have some medical debt, talk to your hospital. Normally they have like an office and like somebody who will work with you. And I've definitely seen people in like situations who have gotten like paid pennies on the dollar or had bills wiped away completely just because they called the hospital and said like, "Hey, here's what I make per year." And the hospital was like, "Okay, we're writing that off."
Apologies if you can hear the snow plows in the distance.
Oh my gosh, is it did you all get a lot of snow?
We did. We got so much.
Oh, I how much did y'all get?
Gosh, at least like 4 inches or so, which I'm
Oh
sure for
wow.
some people doesn't sound like a lot, but it was significant.
We got like an inch the other day, and I was telling you it was 6 inches. So I can imagine 4 inches is probably a lot. I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, it is. Like it's so funny whenever my dog goes outside because she's a little dog and like her little
Oh,
feet sink into the snow. It's the cutest thing ever.
oh my gosh. Does she have like a cute little coat she puts on?
Oh yes, she has several. She has like different
Yes.
ones with like different designs and animals on them. She's very fashionable.
Heck yeah. As you do, that's
Mhm.
amazing. Um,
Like she has one, it's like a sweater that looks like one of those sock monkeys and it has a little hoodie and everything. It's so cute.
oh my God, that sounds beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love it. Does she like the snow?
Not really. She'll tolerate it, but she's not big on water and like anything naturey at all. She's definitely an indoor princess dog.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Oh, that sounds nice. My dog wakes me up like before sunrise in the morning, whining, wanting to go to the park as soon as possible. And that's like a
Aw.
whole thing, right? Like we've got to like get dressed, get breakfast, and then like get his coat on, which he does not sit still for, so buddy. Um, and then like, yeah, and it's gonna be like negative 10 degrees next week, and
Whoa.
it's gonna be a thing for the park. And we're gonna do it though, because why not? take the good with the bad, and doggies need to run too. But I'm
Definitely
really
stay
excited.
warm, bundle up, layer up as much as you can.
Yeah, yeah, I've got a whole like system, right? Like, yeah, my first winter here, I was a little not quite prepared, but I've since spent some time like preparing and like, couple layers of pants, some thermals, couple layers of shirts, like a jogging jacket with a hoodie over top of it with like a big thick coat over top of that, and then like a balaclava, and then like by all of that, like you're ready to go. You can go stand out in the field while the wind blows and the dog's like, "Oh, I'm just happy," you know? Uh, wow. Um, Back to the news. Wow. From user Silly Chili, unplanned. Here's that thing you were talking about with New York, free childcare for
Oh yeah, fantastic. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, if you want to go ahead and read that, you were talking about that.
Sure, yeah. Free childcare for 2-year-olds in New York City. Also, across the state, childcare is now more affordable by reducing the amount those receiving subsidy pay by capping costs at $15 per week for most families.
Yes. That's amazing.
Yeah, that is fantastic. That's a lot more accessible.
Yeah. Yeah, and that frees like that helps the kids out, that helps the parents out. Like I just yeah, it's a lot. I I remember like going out to eat a couple of times and like seeing like the children of like the people who were working in like the restaurants, like just like tucked in a booth with a tablet, and like it just looked like such a lonely existence, right?
Hmm.
Like, I don't know. It's a bummer. But hopefully things are slowly getting better, even if they kind of also suck right now. Um, I think we've got one more of these, and then we can probably like maybe change the subject a little bit. Um,
Yeah, I like that idea. You can switch gears.
yeah,
Oh, sweet.
I don't know what gear we're switching to, but I think most of us who like came to social media around the same time in like 2020 remember all like the pictures of the California fires. Apparently, California has zero areas of dryness for the first time in 25 years, according to ABC here. So that's flipping awesome.
Yeah, that really is fantastic. I know, because I know some people out in California, and I know that's been a really big issue for a number of years now. And just kind of like planning for the future and like wondering like what's going to happen. So like I'm sure that's going to be like a big weight off of a lot of people's shoulders now. I mean, it doesn't mean, there's it's never going to be a problem again, but like at least for now, they can kind of like keep moving in the right direction.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, I 100% with you. And I did not write any of these down to put in the show notes, but um, just two more quick ones, and then we'll change directions. Despite Trump era reversals, 2025 still saw environmental wins. Here are seven worth noting. That looks like a cool article. I don't know what those seven are, but they're out there if anybody wants to go find them. And apparently, a German aerospace engineer makes history as the first wheelchair user in space. So I think those are a bunch of like really happy things to keep in mind as everything else seems like it's sometimes burning down, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a great way to kind of remember that our situation, even though it's rough, like it's definitely rough, it's not hopeless. And as long as we can kind of like hold on to like the idea that better is possible, we can continue working towards that. Like we need to hold these as sort of like our goal and like our ideals and just keep moving forward, keep trying to inspire one another to be our best selves. And yeah, just keep doing the best that we can.
Is where I was going to go with that. Yeah, I don't know. Gabby, what else is on your mind? I'm actually feeling a little bit better than I was after that. I hope our listeners got the same and didn't completely like. write us off as like, I don't know. I felt like I felt like my parents is how I felt on that, which is kind of scary to say. I think that was the feeling I was feeling now that I put a word to it.
Yeah. I get you. I get you. Yeah, I totally, yeah. Yeah, I totally get what you mean. It's, sorry, my brain kind of stopped working there for a minute. I had a migraine earlier, everyone, for those listening. So my brain is not quite where it normally is. Um, but yeah, reading all of those definitely gave me a different perspective. Because I think it's very easy to kind of like lose these little moments of just everyday people doing good things. Because like a lot of like this news, like, no, it's not the flashiest, most like eye-catching news, but it's just sort of, yeah, like just everyday people doing what they can to like make their community better, safer, more inclusive. And it just kind of goes to show that it's not the big things that make the world a better place. It's kind of like those everyday normal actions that, other people might find, maybe not the most interesting, maybe kind of boring, but it really builds over time and kind of snowballs.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. The snowball effect is definitely real.
But yeah, as for like switching gears and maybe what we want to talk about next, I was thinking about Twin Peaks a little bit. If you want to chit chat about that, especially like with what you said about the numbers and stuff, and the quote that I had posted that Jonathan had brought up during our episode. Because for each episode, I like to make like a little like infographic thing with a quote to kind of advertise the episode, and it's kind of fun. And
Those
it
are
was
amazing, by the
essentially
way.
about,
Oh, sorry. I was just saying those
oh no, you're good.
infographics are amazing. I absolutely love that.
Oh, thank
And I'm
you.
trying to pull it up now, but here it is.
There it is. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like quote is basically Coop is an FBI agent, so in this world he understands and is the law, but he's stepping into a world he doesn't understand, so messing with that is like his great hubris, like his failing basically. And I was thinking a lot about, kind of the idea of hubris, because in that episode Jonathan talked a lot about, like, well, maybe Cooper's ego got in his way, maybe the fireman had a different idea as to what he was supposed to do, but Cooper did what he thought he was supposed to do.
Right. I remember
And
that.
I was like thinking about that and like kind of wondering like, well, if Cooper did go wrong, like where did he go wrong?
Yeah.
And I like, this might be a weird theory, but I wonder if his failing was that he went back and saved the wrong person. And the reason why I say that is because there are a couple parts in the return where they reference like the nursery rhyme, like the little girl who lives down the lane.
Yeah.
And the first person who says it is the evolution of the arm. So like the little tree guy with like the brain on
Okay.
top. He asks like, is this the story about the little girl who lived down the lane? And then later on, when we are reintroduced to Audrey and her new husband, Charlie, Audrey actually says, like, oh, is this the story of like the little girl who lived down the lane? Almost like in reference to herself. So I kind of wonder, maybe Coop was meant to go help Audrey. And
Mm.
instead, he interpreted that to go back and save Laura. And the reason why I sometimes wonder that it might be Audrey he was meant to save is it kind of mirrors his rescue of Audrey that happened in One Eye Jacks when he went up to Ben Horn's casino and saved her there. So I wonder if it was kind of like a repeat of that cycle, but he kind of didn't catch that and instead went back to save Laura.
You think so? Like, So Audrey definitely had like the whole like bank thing that happened to her. But yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down, but I'm not quite. Oh, I mean, it's David Lynch, right? Like anything. Oh, Gabby, now that's in my brain and I can't unsee it. Um,
Yeah, like it's definitely a weird theory. Like it's definitely a little bit out there. And like remember, like the fireman tells Coop in the beginning, remember Richard and Linda. And Richard is the name of Cooper's son with Audrey. So like
yeah.
that only leaves Linda as kind of like the outlier there.
Well, wasn't Richard and Linda Cooper and Diane's name at the end
Yes.
after everything changed?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So when did the fireman tell him those names?
I believe it was in the first episode.
Really?
Um, yeah, the first episode of The Return. I think it was, I want to say it was towards like the end. Like I'd have to go back and like see exactly where it falls in the episode. But yeah, it's pretty early on. Yeah, there's like a whole sequence with like him and Cooper, and it's all black and white, kind of like all of episode 8. And then we see Mike, the man with one arm. He's in it too, so like he's definitely involved in some way.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm buying what you're putting down. I still like I'm still on the fence about the whole thing, right? Like I don't want to be naive and a lot of people that I really respect all seem to think that Cooper failed. So kind of feel like that Coop did fail in whatever he was supposed to do and I'm just not seeing it yet. So I'm trying to like understand that yeah, he did fail, but I still feel like the fireman planned so much stuff out in advance. You think he could have made sure that Coop didn't suck at his job? You know? Like, it's kind of where I'm coming at it from, but also recognizing that, like, no, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it to be like, I don't think you've seen Netflix's Dark, but that's a show that I would definitely recommend anyone interested in Twin Peaks to watch. And the ending of that show made a little bit more sense than the end of Twin Peaks, and the ending of Dark was freaking nuts. So I'm still trying to like wrap my brain around all of this.
I do think it is kind of ambiguous though. Like I don't think it's like I definitely don't think it's like Cooper failed 100%. Like I don't think that. I think he definitely succeeded um with certain parts of the journey. And it's also kind of like, kind of like in the song you showed me, Hi Ren, for those of you who end up listening to it, there's like this reference to, it's not sort of like a fight between good and evil, it's this dance,
Mm-hmm.
right? And maybe evil isn't something that Cooper could defeat. Maybe it's something where, he can fight, but it's not like a win or lose type situation. It's like you can kind of win certain battles, but there's always going to be kind of this push and pull. And maybe in defeating Bob, there was kind of like, okay, you destroyed this evil, maybe now there's this sort of rebound effect.
Oh, good point. Damn. Yeah.
Thank you.
Um, I got chills with that. The way you tied in the high Ren with all of that.
Oh,
Amazing.
yeah. I love
Um,
synchronicities like that.
I know. Yeah, me too. Um, which is kind of like saying, I think everybody really likes synchronicities, but also maybe not. I remember they used to make me really panicky when they happened. I don't know if that's happened to anybody else, but a lot of my earliest panic attacks in life were from synchronicities happening.
I can get that though. Like even though synchronicities can be a very kind of positive thing. They can also be very strange. Like it's a major departure from kind of just regular normative everyday life. It's kind of like this idea like no, there is something greater than yourself that's kind of going on. And I think recognizing that early on can be kind of tricky.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, like, they can be kind of ungrounded, right? Like, it's important to
Mhm.
remember to ground.
Yes, absolutely 100%. Like there really is a reason why, a lot of witches, spiritual people, like they highly recommend some kind of grounding practice. Because yeah, it's all about balance. If you're out of balance, it's a lot easier for these things to kind of knock you down.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so true. And, at the time of my life, whenever they would trigger the panic attacks, I was definitely very much out of balance. Like, yeah, yeah. I don't know how I feel about this. Changing gears just a little bit. I just opened up the humanoid encounter subreddit, and I feel like I need an adult right now. Um, this is fascinating. 4-year-old spots luminous, multicolored, hand holding entities flying in the sky over his neighborhood. Um,
I
oh,
love
okay.
that.
Yeah, okay. So apparently this happened in Argentina in the 80s. Fascinating.
I personally love it whenever high strangeness kind of manifests as something other than just like your typical like tall humanoid or gray alien. I love whenever they have like a really weird or unexpected form. Like I think that's why I love All Colors Sam, the Sandown Clown, so much.
Oh, tell me about this one. I am not familiar.
Oh really? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, he is the best. Or I should say they, because they don't really identify as any like one particular gender. So All Colors Sam was a humanoid that was encountered by these two children in, I want to say it was Wales. It was like the Welsh kind of countryside. So like these kids were out playing and they found this little shack just in the woods, and they saw this figure come out of the shack, and they looked kind of like a clown. So like they had like a round face, like kind of, yeah, like definitely like look up a picture, like little triangular eyes. They spoke with this microphone device, so it wasn't even like they were speaking with their actual voice. It was like a, yeah, like a device. And so um the kids asked like, "Are you a ghost?" And Sam replied like, "In a way I am." And when they asked like, "Oh, well, like what's your name?" The being said, "I am All Colors Sam." So like very kind of unusual, um yeah, not your typical like UFO style encounter. The kids ended up feeding Sam some berries, which the being ate by kind of like moving them between their eyes. And yeah, like the way the kids described it, it was very unusual, but also very like comforting. Like there wasn't anything aggressive or kind of like cruel with this being. It was just sort of a creature.
That is really fascinating. I love all of this. Um, yeah, and it's just so wild. Like, wow, that is a pretty interesting. Yeah. Obscure urban or yeah, where am I? Obscure Urban Legends Wiki has a pretty good some art that I would recommend if you want to check out. I keep forgetting we're an audio medium, so nobody can see that. Wow, yeah, that is just wild. Oh, I remember what I was going to ask. I've kind of been out of the loop with this for a long time, it feels like, but do people even report grays anymore? Is that even a thing? It feels
I've
like
heard,
very
yeah,
90s.
people still report the grays, and it's still kind of like the typical, like the similar lore, like they kind of just pop in, kind of abduct people, and then drop them off later. It's like very, very similar to what it was back in like the 80s, 90s.
Okay, gotcha. Um, what's not in the UF like abduction like stuff now? Like, I don't even know. Um, yeah, that was something I kind of followed a little bit in like 2020, 2021, and then yeah, I just kind of fell off that wagon. I don't know. What's on your mind, Gabby?
Like I used to have an interest in kind of like the UFO alien stuff, but like you, I kind of fell off that wagon as well. And I think it's because I went more down the high strangeness route. Because like that's sort of like the two camps, right? Like it's either like nuts and bolts or, like high strangeness, fairies, ghosts, whatever. Um,
Right.
so yeah, I definitely felt more drawn to like the more occult side of things.
Yeah, definitely. I'm feeling you on that. Like the whole like both are real and reality isn't what any either camp thinks it is, right? Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Um, oh God's help me. There's an all colored Sam something on Etsy.
Oh, that
Um,
is so cute.
oh, I was selling for 493. How about that? Um, that is interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna stop browsing while we're talking. Um, but yeah, so like, where was I gonna go with that? Yeah, like I've definitely had like some really weird like encounters, like especially as a child, right? And my brain just brained out on me. So we're gonna come back to that on a different episode, maybe. Um,
Okie dokie.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. It just seems like it's not the time. Well, maybe it is. Like I had that experience that I wrote up on the Liminal Earth blog, right? Where
Mhm.
I encountered like the um, I was walking down a dirt road near my house, like in like southeast United States, and just like walking on the other side of the road was like this giant, like luminous, looked like pixelated being that was just like I don't know, it looked like it like got peeled right off the screen of like an Atari video game, but like with brighter colors, right?
Wow.
And it was just so surreal. And I was like, they were walking towards me on the road on the opposite side, kind of like they were doing their own thing, and just like I kind of felt like I was like in communication with it in a weird way, like I could pick up on its vibe or like what it was thinking, if that made sense. And it seemed completely disinterested in me. And then there was a car coming, and I looked at the car and was thinking like, huh, I hope it doesn't get hit by the car. And then like, I wonder if the car can see that. And then when I looked back, it was gone. And
Wow.
I think about that a lot. Like, like that just seemed like such, like it didn't keep me up at night that night. Like I was like, maybe like 10, right? Like not super young, but not like tween either. Um, and it just seemed like that was just part of the world. Like that kind of stuff could happen. And there was like a certain like childhood magic to it, I guess, that was pretty cool in retrospect. And I don't know what I would do if something similar happened to like, well, I mean, I guess I kind of could say I do, but like if something similar happened, like being older and like a little bit more like rooted in like expectations, like it goes back to like some of that stuff where we were talking about like holding like two separate truths in your brain, right? And finding like the third option from the two. I think there's a little bit of that living in what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. And like, I definitely think that's part of the reason why kids are more likely to have these types of experiences because they are a little bit more open to the possibility that, this stuff can exist. And I think like with that does come like a little bit of like bravery too. Like it sort of like inoculates you to it. Whereas if it's so like outside of what you expect, it's a lot more shocking. Whereas like with little kids, like they imagine there's a monster in their closet, right? And from their perspective, like that monster is very, very real.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas, like, if you're an adult and you start thinking there's like a monster in your closet, it's like that would be a very different experience. Whereas, like, when you're a kid, it's sort of like, okay, it's expected. It's sort of like you're taught to like, oh, just ignore it, just kind of, move on. And then over time, you can just lose touch with that. Um, yeah.
Yeah. And I almost wonder like if it's like kind of related to like the idea of like the heart, right?
Mhm.
Like not in some like physical, like beating, pumping blood sense, but like in the like magical, like spiritual sense of the term, like the heart of the person and like the soul. And like as you get older and as you grow, like shit happens, like trauma piles up, you like the heart changes, right? And I wonder if that has some bearing on the ability of these sorts of phenomenon to make themselves present, to affect you, or to become present, I guess, to circle back to that, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's a great theory, and I can definitely see like where you're coming with that. Because yeah, like you're right, like you do change quite a bit. Like when you're a kid, especially if you had like, a decent, childhood, like you believe the world is, like safe and like people have your best interest at heart. But then like as you get older, that changes, like you learn, like there are people who don't have your best interests at heart. Um, and like it can definitely like harden you to other people and like close you off just like regular people, like not even, we're talking about like spirits and other beings, like it can just prevent you from forming connections with just, the people around you.
Yes.
um and like also like to kind of like look at it a little bit from like the perspective of these beings. Like I think sometimes we assume that these beings are like automatically like more powerful than us, but I sometimes think, it's possible some of them are just as scared of us as we are of them. And perhaps like they can kind of like pick up on that, of like that kind of, if you are kind of jaded, or you do have kind of that, shoot first ask questions later attitude, maybe that kind of pushes them away, or makes them kind of second guess, who they appear to. Because humans do have quite a bit of spiritual power and spiritual agency.
Absolutely. And it's funny you mentioned that. This line stuck out for me from the obscure urban wiki about the all colored sand. Like they wrote, the clown being's demeanor seemed shy but friendly. It told the children it was frightened of humans and would not defend itself if it were attacked. So yeah, I think wherever they're coming from, coming onto this side of like material existence definitely opens them up to like some vulnerability where we are, for better and maybe mostly worse, at the top of the food chain to some degree, right? Or maybe
Right.
not at the top of it, but like maybe not at the top of it, but definitely capable of like doing some, causing some harm, right? Like if we can do anything, we can cause some harm if we wanted to.
Exactly. Like I like to say, like, it's very common, for people to kind of malign, fairies and kind of like beings like that, because there's the folklore of like fairies doing, different bad things. But like if you kind of like flip the script a little bit, if you look at all the things humanity has done, it's like no wonder some of these beings are a little bit skittish of us. If humans were sort of described as we describe, say, fairies or demons, we some of us would definitely be on the maybe do not contact list.
Yeah, no, 110%. Yeah. Um, ooh, I want to say something about that, but I'm going to leave it to a future episode. I think we're going to have a good conversation about that.
Ooh.
Um, yeah. Um, you saw who do a little you saw who we've got coming on February or March, right? I'll just put them
Ooh.
on the screen if you're familiar with them and um, show you where they work or what kind of stuff they work on. This is going to be a good talk, and I think there's a whole lot of what we're talking about here. Anyway, so that's a little teaser for a really exciting. I guess yeah, I'm excited. Anyway,
Oh, me too. Yeah, I think this is going to be a great conversation. And like, I'm very into the whole, interviewing experiencers and, writing about it. Because yeah, I feel like that's the most interesting part of the phenomenon for me. It's the stories themselves and the people who tell them and kind of all the connections between them.
yeah, no, exactly. That's what. Yeah, like that's where I'm at. I'm right there with you. Like I'm not really too concerned about needing to know what a thing is. I'm more concerned with how did it affect you? Like what did it change about you? Like who were you before the experience? Who are you now in your own words after the experience? Did you find it healing, helpful? Like, are you okay? Do you need a hug? Kind of thing. Like I'm right there with you. Um
Mhm.
it's almost like in a certain sense like a modern day like new mythology, right? New folklore.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of power in that. Um, ooh, I just had an idea that I'll need to come back to after. Yeah, something collective unconscious feedback loop folklore. Um,
Ooh.
something. But yeah, I don't know, Gabby. I think that might be a good place to stop. What are you thinking? How are you feeling?
Yeah, yeah, I think I'm ready to wrap it up. I think that was a great episode. We covered a lot of ground, a lot of different topics.
Sweet. Now, I had a blast. I really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun so far. I hope people who are listening are enjoying it. And send us an email. Let us know what you think. If you have suggestions for a show idea or a topic, let us know, or just let us know you're listening. Like, share, subscribe, leave a review. You know, be honest. Those help out. And we've got stickers on our Redbubble store. We've got a Ko-fi. You can help us keep the lights on. If you want to throw a wad up a couple dollars and throw it up the internet pipes to us, we'd appreciate it. We've got some really exciting guests coming up in the next few weeks. We will talk to you all soon.
Woo, thanks everybody.